Hi there. Welcome back to the Real Film Chronicles podcast. As always, I'm Nathan.
And I'm Brian.
And in this week's very special episode, we're going to be taking a look at a little film called Shelby Oaks.
Shelby Oaks, directed by none other than Chris Stuckmann. A woman's obsessive search for her missing sister leads her into a terrifying mystery at the hands of an unknown evil. There's a lot to unpack here at the beginning of how this movie got made that we're going to touch on. Then we'll get into the movie itself, I imagine. But like Chris Stuckmann, we're familiar with this guy. I would say he's probably a prolific movie reviewer on YouTube for, I don't know, at least 10 years or so. We've been watching his reviews and whatnot.
Yep.
Did you check? Have you been watching his stuff over the years?
I mean, I would say as a movie fan who is chronically online, is like, if you're a movie fan and you're online and you're going to search for like reviews of movies, Chris Stuckmann's reviews are going to be in the top 5 or 10 search results on Google. So like, I wouldn't say I watch his reviews religiously, but I mean, I'm just being in that community, in that environment, like you're just going to end up watching some of Chris Stuckmann's reviews. So like anybody who's like likes movies and is online is probably familiar with Chris Stuckmann by this point, right? Like he's pretty prolific in terms of YouTube film reviewers.
And I kind of want to pull the curtain back a little bit here on us here. Like I've watched Stuckmann, but I don't watch every single movie that I view. I don't go look for his reviews. I also do not go look for YouTube reviews necessarily of movies I watch before or after I watch them. Like sometimes the algorithm recommends me one and I'll check it out. And what I really like about Stuckmann's reviews is that they're often like 5 to 10 minutes long videos, right?
I was going to say he's very succinct, very kind of to the point, which is typically I'll prefer written reviews to YouTube reviews. I'm a bit more old school, but I like to see stuff go in depth. And yeah, Chris Stuckmann is really like, he's got his finger on the pulse, right? He's like, that's the length you want as a YouTube reviewer to hold people's attention, 5-10 minutes. That's perfect, right? So
yeah. And I think there's a big difference between those type of reviews and some of the more like essay style reviews where they're maybe 20 plus minutes long, or they're really delving into like a lot of themes and imagery. And like, you'll see so-and-so explains, Shelby Oaks, and it'll be 30 minutes long, analyzing everything in the movie. It's like, I have watched some of those for other movies, but usually I reserve those for movies that I've watched many times, maybe they're favorites. And I just want to see like, are there more perspectives on this movie? But I'm with you on the written review. I'm much more involved on that, which I think like Letterboxd really fulfills for me. Do you go out to like professional movie reviewers, like their websites? Like I can't even think of any. Like back in the day, you'd have like Ebert and whatnot writing in newspapers, and they get syndicated, that sort of thing. I'm not sure what is the equivalent today. Like, there's probably still blogs out there, I guess.
Yeah, there's all kinds of the kind of the standard ones, and then like I really like Film Crit Hulk. He thankfully gave up on the all caps gimmick of Hulk yelling reviews after a while. but people like that, and then I think it's at Ebert.com or whatever it is, but they still write reviews under that, and it's a kind of professional, like so all kinds of people kind of writing reviews online. I don't go anywhere specifically. I'll kind of go down where Google takes me sometimes. So yeah, but like I do prefer if I'm going to read something. I don't know. There's I like both, right? Like sometimes I just want like short, sweet, to the point, is like quick overview, and sometimes I want to go down the rabbit hole. But I like a lot of the YouTube reviewers. I'm not watching them religiously like I would watch, for example, different contexts, but like Corridor Crew. Every Saturday, I'm like, like clockwork. I'm like, I want to see the VFX artist react. Where I'm like, I'm just kind of zoned in. But just to put in good perspective, I'm not like a huge Chris Stuckmann fanboy, but I'm also like, I'm not anti Chris Stuckmann. I'm just like, he's there. I'm aware of him. I watch his videos from time to time, kind of thing, right? So, and
I don't know if this is even worth bringing up, but I feel like it because in the past few years, and I think basically since I imagine he's always wanted to get into the film industry and make his own movies, but he's faced a lot of criticism for being like too positive in his reviews now, and maybe not stepping on toes of film industry. And I think we've actually mentioned this throughout other episodes as well. We just bring it up. And I think for me, it's much more of a response to like, all right, a lot of us are against like what CinemaSins does now, where it's just everything is so negative. It's like, let's focus on the positive here. We can recognize negative parts of a film. We can talk about it, but we're not going to like nitpick stuff. And I think that's where maybe people want to see that. They want to see the sensationalist opinions, and what sells better than negative headlines, right? And I think Chris Stuckmann kind of maybe just took a little bit different approach, but I kind of like seeing that in my reviews as well. And even in our own reviews, I mean, we're still writing every so often, and we'll dig into a movie on the podcast, but we like to bring out some of the positives of that too, because making these movies is no joke.
Yeah, and we'll joke around and stuff, but like in all seriousness, like nobody sets out to make a terrible movie, right? It's like you're putting a lot of times, especially with like in this case, Chris Stuckmann, he's indie filmmaker who's doing it for the love of the game. He's putting his heart in his sleeve. He's out there kind of doing what he loves, following his dream. And it's like, how many of us can honestly say we got off our butts and followed our dream? Like more props to him, and like all the filmmakers out there, even like some of the 1-star films I review. Like you think about Madam Web, right? It's like Dakota Johnson didn't wake up and was like, I'm going to make the worst superhero movie ever made. It's like she's out there giving it her all, doing her best with what she had. Like, so like, yeah, like I don't know. Any shade we throw, any criticism is always, I think, we try to frame it. It's good intentioned, right? It's like, we don't try to be negative. I hope at least we don't come across as negative.
Well, the highlight of the year for us is our bottom 5 list of movies, where we really do, I think, throw a lot of that philosophy out the window and kind of dig into films,
but still in good
probably
fun.
Deservedly so for a lot of them. And it is kind of like, I do feel like in those recordings, it's a little more casual, and you sort of let that guard down a bit, and it's kind of fun. I won't lie, but I mean, if that's a 30-minute recording once a year,
yeah.
After we sit there, the way we record those, we record the top 10. We do nothing but sing the praises of these movies for an hour and a half, 2 hours. And you're like, all right, I got to change gears here and just crap all over these other movies. Thank you.
It's about perspective, but like even like, and Chris Stuckmann is like, I can see where maybe some of that criticism is legitimate, but I mean, if he likes to keep things positive, like everything he does is like fairly kind of not in a negative way. It's kind of surface level, right? He goes in, kind of goes over the movie, what he liked about it, and that kind of thing. And it really feels like in a world of like Logan Pauls and Mr. Beast and stuff, is like Chris Stuckmann doesn't seem to be at the center of any kind of controversy or anything. He seems to be a pretty regular dude. He's not like out there pushing people's buttons, like a genuinely nice guy, or maybe nice guy is a bad term these days, but generally decent guy, right? Is like who loves movies, loves talking about movies, and obviously has a passion for making movies, right? So
Chris Stuckmann went to Kickstarter to get funding for this, as a lot of people have over the years. I think a number of movies have been crowdfunded on different platforms. Kickstarter is probably the main.
Super Troopers 2.
That was Kickstarter too.
I'm kicking myself.
Nice.
I should have paid at the time. I didn't have a bunch of money, but I should have paid to be a cameo in Super Troopers 2. I'm kicking myself now. I should have taken out a loan or something.
Do you remember how much that tier cost to have a cameo in a movie like that?
I don't know. It would have been worth it though.
Because I'm just going to fast forward a little bit here. Like, I'm watching this and the credits are long because they include like a listing for, I don't know if it was all the people who backed the project, but there was a section in the credits for like associate producer. And there was like 40 people listed. I'm be like, oh, these people probably paid a decent amount of money to get their producer credit.
That was a level on Kickstarter. Okay.
Yeah.
That explains the credits. Okay.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. So I think before watching this, I was just like, how long is this movie? And you're like, okay, it's well, actually, let me look up for real here. It says 91 minutes.
Yeah.
But at like 85 minutes, like the movie credits start. And you're like, man, I thought we had at least 5 more minutes of movie here. No, we got long credit. It's nothing like the Return of the King, where they included all the Lord of the Rings fan club members and that like 15 minutes of credits there. But it's still it is a reality of like crowdsourcing movies or crowdfunding movies now.
Yeah.
Potentially get your name in the credits there. So for what I read, he started the Kickstarter campaign in 2022.
No.
It became I don't know if it was the fastest funded horror movie on the platform or the biggest one. It raised about $650,000 before finishing the campaign at just over $1 million.
Okay.
Right. Which does it seems like a lot, but also for a movie, like not a lot, but also for a horror movie, that's actually a pretty good ballpark because a lot of horror movies are just inherently like less expensive to produce. And you're talking like, he's probably not really paying himself for this movie. There's going to be a lot of budget cuts here and there, but that doesn't mean a horror movie's not bad. Like we see tons of awesome low budget horror films. The movie premieres in July of 2024 at a film festival, after which Mike Flanagan I think he has a big Netflix contract because he's doing a lot of like Stephen King adaptations there, and he's done a few good horror series and movies. He becomes attached to the project where they do reshoots and editing before we get a theatrical release by Neon. Neon picks up the movie.
Yeah.
And it came out in October 2025 theatrically. And from what I could see, Neon put about $1 million more budget into the film.
Okay.
So what I'm looking at like Wikipedia, and it's like, oh, the budget was about $1.4 million. It's like, well, I'm not sure what the budget truly is, but it sounds like we're hovering around $2 million put into this film. And the box office, about $6 million.
Okay.
So that seems like a pretty good return on their investment. And I think the important thing, and I think was we both watch Patrick Willems on YouTube and Nebula and whatnot. And I think he was in one of his Q&A videos talking about the film industry, and he's trying to get movies made.
They
he
got
sort of talks about
a short film coming out, don't they?
He does, like next week, I think, as of when we're recording this.
Yeah.
But for him, I think he basically said in Hollywood, they will give you jobs if you've done stuff before. And I might be misquoting, apologies if I am, but it's like, if you can get a short film created or a couple of them as a director, it's like, well, now you're a director and people will just inherently like look at you now instead of just hiring someone completely off the street. So
yeah,
it's like just getting that in is such a huge deal. And the fact that Chris Stuckmann got in here, crowdfunded a movie, got some pretty big attention with Mike Flanagan being attached. I think they put a decent amount of money behind the advertising for this film. Turning a bit of a profit, I assume it's profitable. I don't think it saw a huge theatrical run, but it's certainly, I'm not seeing headlines on its absolute failures at the box office. So possibly we might see some more Chris Stuckmann movies after this.
Yep.
Now he's got his foot in the door. If that's good or bad, I don't know, because the movie, I think, is kind of mixed how it's been received critically and by audiences. And I think that's where we step in here. We're going to talk about spoilers throughout the movie. So if you haven't seen it yet, check it out. And if you don't care about spoilers, continue on. What's your first thoughts when the credits rolled on Shelby Oaks?
Again, trying to stay positive. I mean, overall, like I said, obviously he's passionate about movies. Chris Stuckmann is passionate about movies, and he really wanted to make this. But overall, like, I gotta say, I wasn't overly impressed by the whole affair. Like, going into it, it really did feel like there's some people out there who are gonna love it, like love the indie stuff. More power to you. I love indie movies as well, but this one really did feel like it was like a made-for-TV movie, which I don't know if that means anything for kids these days. But
it has a very different meaning now.
Very different meaning,
because it's like made for TV is made for streaming at this point, right?
Yeah, but I was like, it felt like almost like it could have been on the Sci-Fi Network or something back in the day, just in terms of, I mean, $2 million budget is not a whole lot. It sounds like a lot, but doesn't go as far as you think.
Yeah.
When you're like talking about, people and equipment and all this kind of stuff. But yeah, just in terms of, the writing and stuff felt a little bit, like the dialogue, it wasn't really heightened dialogue. I think they were going for more realism, but there were just some lines that just felt kind of weird. And overall, some of the editing and stuff. Well, when I was thinking about it afterwards, having been like very limited experience in theater and creating our own kind of student films back in the day. It really felt like someone who had been in theater directing a movie, and that's what the staging felt like. It didn't feel like as kind of fluid or dynamic as maybe, as a more kind of seasoned filmmaker taking full advantage of that medium, right? Where it felt like, series of shots. And again, it's probably because it's easier to do, right? Easier, like you think of this scene and you're filming it almost like theater, like on a stage. I mean, and it's like, okay, yeah, these two characters talking to each other, and then kind of cut to the next scene and stuff. Like overall, it was like, sure, A for effort, but the final product, I mean, aside from a couple jump scares, yeah, it did not really do it for me. How about you? What were your initial impressions watching this thing?
I mean, definitely, I feel like, I don't know if you'd agree with this or not, but I do appreciate that perspective of like, this would be like a theater, like someone who had experience in stage plays more making a movie. I find that interesting because it's like, maybe felt like a bit more of a student film, right?
It did, yeah, it did.
And it's like maybe that background. I'm not sure on Stuckmann's background for that. I know him and his wife did the story of this, and he wrote this movie. I assume just like wrote the script and everything. But you're also very aware when the movie finished that there were reshoots and re-edits of the film, and I'm like, I think I can identify what was added after the fact, and it was like, maybe I shouldn't be able to do that, where you watch like even like these giant big budget ones where, because we were talking about Madam Web before recording, it was like that movie I think saw a lot of reshoots, and you're left with a complete mess on screen, where this one, if it got reshoots, it's not messy. Like it is coherent throughout the entire runtime.
Yep.
The story makes sense. I understand, I think, what they were going for, but I think all the criticism you threw out there of like the dialogue maybe not being like A+, like it's a little jilted here and there. It's like, it's a little...
Yeah, I felt like it could have used like maybe one more pass just to clean things up. Like there was one line that stuck out to me where the sister there, I can't remember what the sister's name, who was looking for her, the missing sister was Riley, and the paranormal paranoids, they're haunted, like they would go, like it was like the ghost hunters, right? It's like they go around to haunted places, and then they found the found footage at the beginning of like, oh yeah, the 3 people on the team were killed and Riley went missing. So the sister's looking around, and then the guy shows up, shoots himself in the head, and she says something to her husband there. Is like, oh yeah, my only lead is in the morgue rotting right now, and it's like, just throwing in that word rotting was just a weird thing. It was like, my only lead is in the morgue right now. It was like, just like little things like that where it could have been polished, like one more maybe pass just to polish up some of the dialogue just a little bit.
I think I see what you mean there. Like, I think a lot of that stuff goes over my head when I'm watching a movie, and it's like, I'll end up with like sort of a vibe afterwards, and you're like, yeah, the dialogue felt off here and I can't quite explain it. I think you can better articulate specific examples like that.
It's about context, right? Because some writer-directors, like you think Kevin Smith, Quentin Tarantino, Aaron Sorkin, they're not writing characters like how people would normally speak in real life. It's a heightened kind of dialogue, but through the whole movie, all the characters speak like that, and it's contextually, you get used to it. You understand the kind of the language of that cinema. I think Shelby Oaks is going for more kind of a realism in the dialogue, right? There's a kind of other end from like the heightened language, kind of the realistic dialogue. And some of it, I think the actors did a really great job. But some of it, you could kind of tell when they were delivering their lines, I think they were kind of stumbling over it just a little bit because some of the phrasing was kind of a little bit awkward, right? And I think maybe one more pass, maybe by a third writer or something. It's like third party, new set of eyes, go over it, and just to smooth out some of those wrinkles would have gone a long way, just to help things flow a little bit more. Because like it did feel to the dialogue, but also like even the editing and like how the movie was kind of cut together, it felt a little bit choppy at times, right? Where it just felt like, here's a scene and here's the next scene, and you realize, oh yeah, there's an art to transition, right? All the little things transition from scene to scene, and like where you cut a scene, what dialogue you end on, how long you hold that shot after somebody speaks or in between scenes. Like there's you realize, oh yeah, that Oscar for editing is like, there's a huge skill set. Like the editor, like a lot of people, like there's a common expression, like the movie is found in the edits. It's like, oh yeah, like editing goes a huge way, and you could tell, right? There's one thing in particular. I'll pass it back to you, Brian. I don't want to go off too much of a tangent, but like where she finds the old lady's house, right? And they make this big thing, like the editing. They show her like picking up a knife off the table, putting it in her bag. Yeah. Then when she goes in the basement, finally finds her sister, and they make a big thing with the edit of like showing her putting the knife on the floor. And they even like, there's a shot when she releases her sister Riley from the cage. There's a shot of the knife on the floor. I'm like, okay. And then they just leave the basement without fighting anybody. And it's like the knife didn't play any part whatsoever. Like, I'm wondering if that was like from a previous cut where they did need the knife. And then they go upstairs and they find another weapon right away. Anyway, the classic fireplace poker, which is a classic weapon in movies, in horror movies. But it's like weird things like that where it's like, all these shots focusing on the knife and like, but why? Right?
Yeah, the knife doesn't play into it after the fact, right? It's maybe...
It was very strange. Like something like... Normally, I'm not... And this is the thing. I'm not looking out to nitpick stuff like this normally, right? So like when I'm noticing this kind of stuff, it's like... It tends to be super blatant because I'm not usually that kind of savvy, right? People are like, oh, this and that. But so when it sticks out like that...
shot was super obvious.
Weird,
and
right?
I totally agree. When you pointed out, you're like, yeah, they put reference. It was in focus. It was on screen. And you think the knife is going to play into it, or at least that she's defenseless afterwards. It's like, you put down the knife. You're like, girl, don't put down the knife. You're going to need that. Well, she just gets a fire poker afterwards. And you're just like,
and they get out of the basement. And then like the old woman doesn't try to stop them from getting out of the basement. So it was like, you didn't need the weapon. So like, why spend that time on screen emphasizing the weapon? I don't know. It was really kind of weird.
It's not like a mystery movie where you're going to show things that maybe like have a red herring in there to like throw audiences off the trail or anything, right? This is like a pretty linear, straightforward film in its storytelling, I think. But going back to the dialogue, even doing some things for the podcast here, I've tried fooling around with like recording, like writing out a little script and record something on the side. There's a big difference in what you write and then when you're speaking it out loud. And you can pick that stuff up while you're doing the recording itself, or like you just put it out there. That's why, you write a speech back in elementary school, you got to sound it out and work on it. I saw a quote here. I'm not sure how accurate this is, but it says when Neon picked up the film and funded Valve's additional reshoots, they funded 3 days of reshoots with the actors.
Okay.
And it was just a little side note there saying that basically doubled the shooting period for the film. Giving me the impression that they filmed this movie in 3 days. Okay.
Yeah.
Which, when you think about that, you're like, okay, so there's not a lot of time for extra takes, and there's not a lot of time for the actors to like spit out the dialogue in the scene, on the soundstage or the setting, wherever they are, and think, okay, maybe that extra word, like the rotting, is this example we'll roll with. They do a couple takes with that. Maybe it doesn't sound quite right, but they got to move along. Like they only have so much money. And it truly does sound like a lot of that was filmed on that initial crowdfunded budget. And so when they go back to redo shoots and editing, it was more adding special effects specifically. And I'll mention some of the scenes later on there, because Chris Stuckmann kind of like outlined most of the changes that were done with that extra money. But there you don't get like that a dynamic creation of new dialogue or additional dialogue or cutting stuff, right? And I feel like you see that in behind the scenes featurettes all the time, where an actor would be like, oh, the dialogue was this. I said it this way because it just sounded more natural. And what better way than like the character who's like inhabiting that mindset, like they're in that mindset on set to do that, and then things would get approved. But then you see other things like the Coen brothers have a very specific way of writing, and like you hear the actors are not to veer off the dialogue like at all. Like maybe they'll let them try a couple things, but it's like they are pretty rigid in that sort of thing. And then that has the voice, like Quentin Tarantino is the perfect example of just like when you hear 5 minutes of his movies, it's one of his movies.
It's so distinct, movie,
right?
Yeah,
but I can't help but feel like that's where you see like the indie nature of this film out there. Yeah. And it's no slight against the actors, because some of the actors here, I think it's Mia as the main sister here, who's looking for her sister, And she has a variety of standout roles, movies and TV shows. So
What
it's
else was
like
she in? She looks kind of so those people like I know who she is, but I
Yeah.
couldn't quite place her.
so this is not an order of release date or anything. This is like Letterboxd film popularity. She was in Best in Show back in 2000.
Okay.
Butterfly Effect, Hunter x Hunter. There's a few movies. Taken, which I think was a limited TV series.
Oh.
Looks like some zombie films and whatnot.
Of course.
Yeah, and then you have like Keith David showing up for a little bit. And you're like, that's a big get. That's a big name to have in there and a big presence to have on your screen.
Yeah, it was nice to see Keith David show up, and then again, like he did a great job, but his dialogue, it really felt like that scene was like, it felt like a theater scene, right? And some of the dialogue felt like, again, he did a great job with it, but it was like it's not how normal people would talk, right? And like you're saying, like even when I'm as an it's easy for me to speak like as an aspiring writer. So like, yeah, 100%. I've never had anything published, right? But like when I'm writing dialogue scenes, sometimes you write something on the page like, oh, this is awesome. But every time I write dialogue, I try to say it out loud. It's like, and you'll get tongue tied or you trip up. It's like, this doesn't work when you say it. When you read it, amazing. But when you say it out loud, it doesn't work with human tongues, or it doesn't work with the human mouth. It's like maybe there's a bit of that, right? It was like he did like Keith David. He's a consummate professional. Like he's awesome. But you know Captain Anderson, obviously from Mass Effect. But
yeah, exactly. He's done a lot of video
Captain,
game
my
voices.
Captain.
You recognize him from Halo as well, right?
Yeah.
But man, like I don't envy anyone in the film industry for doing this. And I see this comment from directors too. They're like, oh, I wrote this with so-and-so in mind, because you're aware of their talents and how they deliver lines. And you see a funny quip online. I think it was, oh my God, Foo Fighters frontman there.
Dave
Grohl. Like, I guess they were going on Saturday Night Live, and Christopher Walken is hosting.
Wow.
And, right? And so the story is that Walken goes up to Dave Grohl and it's just like, okay, like which word of your band's name gets like the emphasis? And at first you're thinking like, what are you talking about? But it's like Christopher Walken is aware of like how he's going to deliver every line. It's like, and he knows that it's like his trademark. And I think he probably works on it. Like, how is he supposed to, should he say Foo Fighters, like Foo or Fighters? Like, how is he supposed to put
Fighters.
that? Yeah, exactly. Right. It's just like that sort of thing, So I imagine when you're writing a movie with a script like that and you think, oh, I have this actor doing this, they're probably going to do it this way. And maybe when they show up on set, they want to do it a little bit different. Not maybe that they don't want to, but it's a collaborative thing too.
Yeah, 100%.
So it's got to be difficult doing that sort of thing.
Yeah.
How did you feel about the movie starting as a faux documentary that lasted about, I think it was 15 to 20 minutes?
Yeah, that's another thing too. It was like, okay, so it started with it was the found footage, but then you realize, oh, it's part of a documentary they're doing. So like it starts off, like I said, like the Paranormal Paranoids, which is, I don't know, there's something about that name that feels like it's a made for TV kind of name, right? It's like, but I don't know.
I'll make one comment about Paranormal Paranoids. One, it is difficult to get out those two words together, but they, part of the marketing was back in 2021. They actually filmed all those segments of the YouTube episodes and put them on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
And if you stumbled upon them, you'd be like, this is a YouTube show. And these people are out there in the woods doing this.
Okay,
and at the time, apparently, it was like some YouTubers are like, this feels fake. Others are like, this feels legit. Like this could be a legit channel. And it is, in fact, an ARG, I think, augmented reality game, part of like a marketing scheme for the upcoming movie. But I feel like maybe as a proof of concept, Stuckmann had all that created back in 2021 because he started the campaign officially a year later. So I feel like this movie has been in the making for quite a while. And obviously doing YouTube videos, it's a lot easier to just bring out, a digital camera into the woods with some people and some of the actors and do that. But I found the intro, I was just like, oh, it's one of these movies. Like it's a docu style.
I thought it was going to be the whole movie, right? It was going to be in this style. And I've
seen other horror movies in that style where they maintain it throughout the entire thing. It's always mixed with found footage stuff.
Yeah.
But it really was almost kind of jarring that they did not finish on the docu style. They added documentary style stuff in the end, if it went back to the traditional narrative before like the credits roll.
Yeah.
And I thought that was kind of maybe not the greatest choice, but it took me out a little bit. But if you're going to start docu-style, maybe finish fully docu-style.
Like I was thinking like The Fourth Kind, right? If you're gonna bookend it, like the bookends have to be at the end of the books. You can't have the bookend halfway through the books, then a bunch of books at the end fall down. Like that's literally that's the metaphor. You're gonna bookend, you got to bookend, right? Like,
right.
It was a weird kind of editing choices, right? It's like the show was like kind of not as polished, right? So it was interesting framing. I thought the whole movie was gonna be like the documentary style then, right? And then it was like, and then it was like hard cut. No, not it's gonna be traditional kind of movie. I was like, again, that's where we talk about like, transition kind of thing, where it was like maybe I didn't get there's an art to transitioning between those two kind of storytelling modes, right?
Yeah. And the transition at the beginning wasn't too bad, honestly. Like I've seen much worse. Like some horror movies really, I mean, they stretch out some concepts pretty far. This one wasn't bad. When going back to that initial question, like my first thoughts on it was like, that was a completely fine movie. That was just fine. Like I knew, this is middle of the road. It didn't feel super polished. It didn't feel like anything great, but it wasn't bad. It didn't offend me at all. I'm just like, I can love this thing, warts and all. Well, maybe not love it, but I can appreciate it for what it is. And I mean, we're not getting into our final thoughts here, but I was like, I really do hope that he goes and does more stuff. He gets opportunities to like refine the craft because there's promise here. I watched another movie done by a social media influencer. What's it called? House on Eden, which directed by, maybe written by Chris Collins, who is a big TikToker out of BC. I think she started up in 2000 or so.
Okay.
More of like a comedy thing, but she had some YouTube videos where they were doing paranormal investigations. Her and a couple other TikTok people.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of money in TikTok back then. I think they made a lot of money. I don't know if they crowdfunded that movie, but I ended up watching it and it was complete and utter garbage. You could see that it's like, oh, they like horror movies, but they do not have the background. Like here, maybe he has a theater background. He has a passion about filmmaking. Like he has his own spin on this. That movie was just like, it felt suiting that they're like, well, we have two, like maybe YouTube people bring out a movie around the same time, and they're both horror movies, and they're both kind of found footage. It's like, there's a clear difference in the two qualities of these movies. So I was walking away with that in mind as well, with some more context, I guess.
Right.
Now, some of the stuff that Stuckmann mentioned specifically was different from his original cut. Is Riley, the found sister, at the end of the movie, she falls out of the window, and at that moment she dies.
So brutal.
Okay, but in the reshoots and stuff, they were able to add the hellhounds come back and like eat her body because she's still alive and eat her alive, which was, one of those moments where you're like, oh, I can tell this is added, like the visual effects.
Was everything where Riley was in the wig at the end, was that all added reshoots? Because like
I didn't notice any wig stuff, but possibly,
had,
like they mentioned,
the gray. Her hair would turn gray, but it looked like a wig the whole time. Every time
it might have been.
Found her,
honestly, like especially if it's done reshoots and you're talking like a full year or two afterwards. I mean, it makes sense.
Tough one to explain to the cops. You found your sister and then you killed her right away.
Yeah, like I think that storyline or those story bits where Mia at the end has like the demon over her shoulder, puts the hand out her. I think that was added. Because they mentioned the flashback scene with the two girls as the two sisters as young girls was all added during the reshoots, where just the fact that Mia saw the demon when she was young, and it was really like Riley was the one who we thought was seeing it more often. That was all done as well. They mentioned something about the 911 call being added afterwards, and Stuckmann said there was about 11 minutes removed from his original cut into what we saw in this final cut here.
Interesting.
But yeah, I don't know if we'll ever see an original cut of this movie. I remember seeing some comments on Reddit, and I mean, you take any Reddit comment or thread with a big grain of salt.
Oh yeah.
Where they saw maybe the movie at like a test screening or even some of the film festival releases back in 2024 or 2023 or whatever. And they weren't kind to the movie, but they weren't, maliciously evil comments or anything. They were just like, this is not a good movie. It's not shaping up great. And then a year later, we got reshoots, and it is pretty mixed. What other elements stood out to you here, good or bad here? Like,
yeah, no, like when they, like the deaths of the paranoid squad there, that was when they finally found the tapes. Like that was pretty brutal.
yeah,
When they were like, the guy was like tearing their faces off. I was like, what a way to go, man! You can't even like have no open casket for those poor bastards. I was like, nope. Yeah, like some of the settings, like the prison. I'm assuming that was an actual location.
Oh yeah, the prison is Ohio State Reformatory, and I've actually been there before.
Was that part of your ghost tours there you were going on?
It was. Me and some friends over 10 years ago, we went down to Louisville to check out the the name's slipping my mind, but it's an old sanatorium. And on the way back, we stopped in Ohio to the Ohio State Reformatory. It's just like a regular prison tour. You pay your admission and go in. So that main cell block she's in, like I've walked those paths. I've walked those.
Oh, nice.
It is a really gnarly looking, like it really, you don't have to do too much to make it look like that. When you see it in the film, you're like, they basically were able to film this probably at night when, you're not allowed in there at night. So we saw it during the daytime, and it's like, it would be scary as hell. Like it was in there. Like they didn't have to do very much to it. It was gnarly. It was neat seeing that. I mean, that prison's been used many times. Shawshank Redemption was filmed there as well.
What?
And
wild.
Some of the exterior shots were definitely not the reformatory, but I feel like some of the exterior shots they looked a little maybe more CGI.
They looked like CGI. It was really weird when she was driving up. It was like, this feels CG.
Specifically, the driving up scenes, like the overhead shots, did not look real. Right? That was weird.
Yeah, but then when she got in, it's like, okay, this is obviously real place because they don't have the budget to CGI this, and it looked real. The burned down amusement park, they were by the carousel wheel, which looked real as well. But so I don't know if they were like, it was an actual kind of dilapidated old amusement park that they were filming at as well.
I think one of the major issues I might have had was the sister was just in Shelby Oaks the entire time. Like 12 years she was missing. And I mean, yeah, she's hidden away captive in this basement. But I'm like, how did they not, like, it took the sister no time at all to go to Shelby Oaks and find her.
That's what I was thinking, is like, she was looking for her sister for 12 years, and in the space of like 12 hours, she finds her.
Yeah. I don't know, like, I don't know, because obviously she got the extra footage there, the extra tape that maybe gave her the final clues to it. But I mean, her last seen location was Shelby Oaks, right?
Yeah, but that's the thing too. She goes out in the woods from she's following the clues. She goes to the prison cell, which again, I'm not sure exactly what she was hoping to find in the prison cell, because like it was all run down and dilapidated. It was in the context of the movie.
Yeah.
The prison had been shut down. It was obviously overgrown. It was like, so I don't know if she was going there specifically for a paranormal experience. But she happens to find like the archaic, like the symbol, demonic symbol on the wall and everything. But it's like, realistically, it's like, what was she hoping to find there? But then when she's following the breadcrumbs and she goes out to the woods again, she sees like in the video, one of their things they would do is like mark their initials in a tree. Perfect. But she doesn't find, like, she's led to that old lady's house by one of the hellhounds, supposedly, who's like the hellhound. So the mythology in the movie is like the incubus is the demon or whatever, and he's got like he uses hellhounds as his minions. But one of the hellhounds like literally goes up to her, and she follows it to the house. So like the demon wanted her to find it. So it's really weird, right? It's like, so like it wasn't her finding it. It was like, oh, the demon was planning this all along. But it's like, why the 12-year gap? I don't know, man.
Well, I think now that you're saying it out loud, it's the pieces are kind of falling into my mind here a bit better. She saw the demon when she was younger. So did the sister.
Yeah, so the demon
takes the sister with a specific intent of basically making this demon baby, Antichrist or whatever, a demon baby. And I think fully realizing that its long-term plan was probably that the sister that he was leaving alone was messing with her own pregnancies, which is why she can't have her own children. And the demon knows that, what's her name? Riley is not going to be like the mother that raises this demon baby once it's successful. And I feel like, honestly, I just have to say this as an aside, of the past year, I've seen multiple demon baby, Antichrist babies, and these nuns. I think there was a Sydney Sweeney movie about that last year.
Yeah.
It's like there was another Omen movie. And it was kind of the same thing. It's like these nuns are getting there and they're being manipulated to basically give birth to the demon spawn or whatever. It was just like, this is another horror trope that comes about. And this would seem like, at the other day, another take on that trope.
Yeah, I don't know. The pieces seem to be coming together for you more than they are for me. It seems a little.
But I mean, when you're watching it, you're like, oh yeah, like she's just walking. She's following a demon hound up to this house. This house has been sitting there. It's like the only habitated house in the entire abandoned area.
When they went,
we should have probably looked at this earlier.
I was like wondering, where'd they get the electricity for the lights in that dungeon basement? It's like, I didn't hear a generator running. It's like, surely the power company would have shut the power off.
Well, here's the thing. If Doom, the video game, has taught me anything, is that you want to tap into the forces of hell to get energy. Oh, right. You open up a portal. So presumably there's a portal underneath this house. That's
hell portal electricity. Perfect. Yes. Yeah. And then it's revealed what it reminded me of an X-Files episode, actually. The reveal that she kept giving birth to these, I guess they were trying to impregnate her to give birth to a demon baby, a particular baby to hold the spirit of this demon. And there was a bunch of the little, demon signs up front made out of sticks.
Yes. Little graves.
And it turns out that these were, I think the implication was that they were unviable births, so they were stillbirths. And that reminded me, there was an episode of X-Files. I think it was Bruce Campbell. And he was a demon. And he was going around trying to impregnate women and have a regular human baby. And they find a graveyard in the backyard and all these deformed babies because he kept having demon babies. And then in the end, he found he was going to bed with this one lady and she turned out to be a demon. And she specifically wanted a demon baby.
Yeah.
And so she kills him or something and takes the baby, and it's a real demon. But it reminded me of that episode of X-Files for some reason. Not for some reason.
I gotta rewatch X-Files. That sounds great.
The graveyard of unviable fetuses of a specific species.
Yes.
That was the connection.
That was the connection.
Failed demon babies. Failed demon baby graveyard.
That was the other thing. I can't remember the guy's name, but it was like a WM initial. But that his initials in the symbol is clearly like a demonic thing. And I'm thinking while watching this movie, it's like, could you imagine, back in 98 or 99, whenever Blair Witch came out, that little stick figure that got. I mean, that's if you still put that on screen, people would be like, Blair Witch, done, easy, right? And this one kind of felt the same way, except when I'm watching this, I'm like, this will never become a thing. They have,
it's hard,
possibly some possibility for a really cool design here. That means something scary. And it's just not going to take off because I thought the symbol there, that little WM demon symbol, looked pretty neat, but it's not as iconic as the Blair Witch little stick person there.
It's tough to you can't force that kind of iconography, right? It's like it has to catch on the public consciousness, and it's hit or miss, right?
There's also a scene where Mia is talking to her husband, and I think sort of explaining, her state of mind and everything. And he's just like, "You need help," and just walks away, and you're like, "What the hell has just happened here?"
Yeah, that was super awkward staging, right? Some of that kind of stuff stood out. It's like, yeah, you need to see someone, and then he walks away. I was like, what? Huh?
It was so cruel. I'm just like,
so
I kept expecting a return afterwards. Is he the demon? Is he just being he's being a bastard? And so she does go out completely on her own, and I'm like, no, you should be with other people at least, or
at least wait until morning, right? Cause she drives middle of the night. I was like, of course, scary stuff's gonna happen. You go there in the middle of the night, but it's Again, it was kind of weird pacing, right? It's like, so there's a driving scene. She drives to the prison, goes in and investigates. There's the hellhound and the demon there, or whatever. Immediately after that, there's another driving scene where she drives again to the Shelby Oaks, the amusement park. And it's like, this feels kind of really weird pacing. It's like, seems like we're kind of repeating ourselves. Yeah, I don't know. It was, yeah.
That's all good. It's all good. I mean, it certainly did overstay its welcome at like just under 90 minutes runtime, I guess. But should we get into ratings on this thing?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Well, first we do have a tradition here to do a little guessing game on something everyone can play along with while you're listening is figuring out what the Rotten Tomato critic, audience, IMDb, and Letterboxd average ratings are on this film. I did do my guesses beforehand because, as we realized, took me a long time to figure this out, that if I just didn't look it up first, I could play along too. But I could be lying. So, you know what? Doing a podcast is not easy. There's a lot to go on here.
I know we make it look easy, but it's a lot harder than it looks. Yeah.
Exactly. All right. So Rotten Tomato critic, everyone uses this thing as a barometer of a movie's quality. This is the percentage of critics who review the movie favorably. What do you think? And this is 0. This is a percentage, 0 to 100.
Oh, wait. I think I may have seen this when I was glancing online, so I might be cheating, but I'm going to say 56%.
56%. I guessed 45%. And the critic rating as of recording was 55%. So I think it was cheating.
I did cheat on that one. Yeah, I apologize.
I mean, it's honestly pretty difficult because as we were talking before, you look up reviews and stuff. If you type in Shelby Oaks, top 5 Google result is going to be Rotten Tomatoes. It's just like, it's just there. But what about the audience rating? It might be a little more buried in there.
I think I'm going to go higher for audience. I'm going to say maybe like a 60% for audience.
And I guess 55%.
Okay.
The actual is 54%.
Oh, so I would have thought higher for audience in this one for sure.
Yeah, me too. And I kind of would have thought Stuckmann would have a little more of a built-in audience where like people have been following him for so long. He has a presence and people would go see this in theaters and possibly just review it favorably just because they like the guy, right? They've been watching him for years and years.
Maybe this is a sign that the system does work, that he's not getting undue favoritism, being part of that circle where people are reviewing it honestly, right? Or they could have, like, if the YouTubers all got together, they could have like been like, oh yeah, let's all just get positive reviews because that could be us someday, right?
Yeah. And I participated in that. We mentioned Patrick Willems before. He did do a smaller movie a couple years ago.
Night of the Coconut.
And I did rate it 5 stars, and we talked about it on the show for a little bit. I put it in my top 10 of the year. And I mean, it basically got 5 stars because I'd been following this guy for a decade, and I really appreciated all the inside stuff. It was just like, movie quality be damned, good or bad.
You're gaming the system here, Brian.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's head over to IMDb. Their users use the 10-point scale. What is the average IMDb user rating?
Okay, I'm going to adjust it then. I'll say 5.2.
I mean, that's pretty smart because really audience and IMDb should be roughly the same. I guess 5.7 for IMDb, and the correct one right now, well, not the correct one, the standard right now is 5.5 on IMDb.
Okay.
Pretty close on all accounts. And finally, Letterboxd, which is where you can find all our reviews and whatnot. We're on there. They use the 5-star system. What do you think the Letterboxd users average is?
I'm going to say in the same area. I'm going to say like a 2.5.
Yeah. I think I might have cheated on this one a little bit myself in the same way you did on the, I guess 2.7. Okay. And the current standing is 2.6.
Okay. Split the
so
difference.
It's all pretty well middle of the road. Like, you couldn't get any more down the middle, I think, than the ratings across the board for Shelby Oaks. Like, critic, audience, users, everybody is completely average on this film.
Yeah.
There's a Rotten Tomato critic consensus quote. I'm just going to read that off.
Okay.
Shelby Oaks may stumble in its final moments, but its atmospheric tension and emotional core firmly establish it as a chilling debut from director Chris Stuckmann. We all got Stuckmanized.
I'll see a doctor about that, maybe.
I mean, I think I said before, I'm just like, I really do hope he does more stuff. I hope he gets to refine his craft. I think this is a promising start, although it's not great.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot about our ratings.
I wish him all the best. Yeah.
Yeah. What's your rating?
Yeah.
We use the letterbox 5-star. Possible heart. I don't think the heart bonus is going to come out of this episode, though.
Again, no shade. I got to be honest. I think initially I was waffling between like 1.5 and 2 stars. I think I landed on 2 stars, 2 out of 5. I mean, I'm not gonna lie and tell you that I love the movie when I didn't. I don't wait again. The guy's following his passion. He's done more to chase his dreams than I have, so like I gotta give him props for that. But in terms of like the actual quality of the movie, I think 2 out of 5 was me being generous.
2 out of 5.
But that's about as high as I can go. What was your rating for this one, Brian?
I'm settling on 3 stars.
Okay.
And I did feel like 2.5 would probably be appropriate, but I do appreciate, the debut, the story behind this movie, a crowdfunded film. I feel like this is an underdog movie that had no right to succeed in any way, shape, or form. And it did okay. Like,
yep.
Critic, box office, like it's done okay. And for me, it did okay. I was just like, I watched it and be like, yeah, that was decent. I've seen a lot of worse horror movies out there, and I'm impressed that this did as much as it did. So I gave it 3 stars. I feel like we've talked about this before where, the expectations on these movies, right? This is obviously a guy who does YouTube videos, passionate about filmmaking, going against all odds to make a movie wherein you have these big budget movies with like $200 million funding behind it, and they just produce these garbage. Like the expectation, you're like, those movies have no business being as awful as they are. And these ones, like,
exactly.
Yeah.
But I was,
we've talked about some of those ones where it's like these super low budget films, like literally made for TV, like you said before. They got $1 million, they make a movie. We're not expecting, Oscars or anything here. And they have heart. It's all about that heart behind it. And you can feel it here, I find, for sure.
Because I was running my comparison algorithm against movies like, lower budget stuff like, Blair Witch.
Yeah.
Things like Evil Dead, even like recent stuff like Deadstream, like lower budget kind of films, right? Which all, in my estimation, were like a lot better with the kind of same. So that was that was my kind of basis of comparison, those kind of movies, and looking at kind of first time directors and kind of things. So I was trying to put it in context. But even then, this movie clearly it didn't do it for me, right? It was like all the best in the world to Chris Stuckmann, and I hope he continues to make movies, and like, because you never know, like we could get this, and the next one could be his Schindler's List, right? So like you never know, right? Yeah. I don't want to put a kibosh on anybody's creativity, but in terms of like for me, the overall quality was just wasn't there. But like you're saying, it's like if he loves what he's doing, turn a profit, go for it, man. Like direct your heart out.
Everyone's got to get their start somewhere.
Yeah, 100%.
Good times. Anything else to add before we show ourselves out here?
Not in the least.
Well, that's a wrap then. That's a wrap. Good job, everyone. As always, we appreciate you hanging out with us today and taking the time to listen to our podcast. You can find us online over at realfilmchronicles.com, where we have not just a repository of podcast episodes, but many of our written reviews as well. If you're up to it, you can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram as well. All the links should be within the show notes here. So until next time, take care of yourself and others, and be sure to enjoy your film journey.